Welcome back, Sideline Cancer family. It has been a little bit since we have chatted with you on the YouTube channel. TBT 2022 has come and gone, but the Griffith Family Foundation, and more specifically, Sideline Cancer, has not. And there are still some awesome things on the horizon, which we're going to be discussing today as I am joined by Jordan Griffith and Mike Reed. Jordan and Mike, how you doing tonight, y'all?
Doing great, thanks.
Doing great.
Glad to be on here.
I love it. I love it. Jordan, you've been on before, but let's just quickly remind the group, what is your role within the organization?
Yeah, so I'm the executive. My mom's the president. We work pretty close with one another. She deals more with the sports and branding side of it. TBT being a big part of that. And, what we're going to talk about athletics, is kind of the thing that drives us throughout the year. And Mike, our executive director of the Sideline Cancer Athletics Board. And so me and him will be working a lot with one another. He had one of the premier AAU programs in our area. So, very well respected.
I love that. And Mike, can you introduce yourself as well? It's great to finally meet you over the screen, but what is your role and how have you been involved with Sideline Cancer? A little bit more, obviously, than Jordan just said.
Well, certainly in sort of the foundation inception, I've known his parents and his for a long time. Been involved with basketball and known Jordan through that as well. Program since 2010, Central PA Dynamite. Been very successful locally and nationally, and just excited about the opportunity with partnering with Sideline Cancer.
I love it, man. And so let's talk about that. Let's talk about the merger. How did this all come about? How did it get started? What is the outlook for it for the future for Sideline Cancer with this merger?
Yeah, so back in August of last year, literally it might have been a couple weeks. I had texted Mike and asked him if he'd meet me so that we could go and discuss the possibility of an AAU merger. Mike's Central PA Dynamite premier programs in the entire state, if not the country. And, Sideline Cancer was back in 2020, and we were kind of in each other's backyards. And he'd always been a long supporter of the fact, he's an orthodontist, and he actually did my teeth. And so I got a beautiful smile because of Mike Reed. But, we sat down, we discussed, how it was together, or would there be a possibility that we would be able to come together to create that stretches not just from our area, which is Hollidaysburg, Altoona, and all of Central Pennsylvania. Our head coach, Charlie Parker, lives as well down in York, Lancaster, with what at the time was called the Eyeball Academy, which had a Sideline Cancer affiliation. And so last August, we met, we kind of progressed forward to this point where this coming weekend, we'll be holding our first tryout for elementary girls. Grades 5th and 6th will be from 2 to 3:30 at the Hollidaysburg High School, and then girls ages from 4 until 5:30.
That's amazing. And how does that help even further the vision and the mission of Sideline Cancer and ultimately the Griffith Family Foundation?
Continuously promoting for us this I can attitude and believe always spirit. That was CJ Miles here in a little bit. But, a lot of times when we think about how we can actually impact cancer pain, we only think financially. We actually don't think about the intrinsic motivation this year that really spurred a lot of people on. In fact, I had a few cancer patients actually thank me and the foundation and the kids for showsters of cancer patients, saying that we were in support of them. And that was really one of the posters we did was for Dick Vitale. And actually we did it with Mike Reed Central, and it actually ended Dick Vitale's documentary. Did you see the documentary on Dick Vitale?
I did not, but I'm gonna have to check it out now.
Yeah, it literally ends, and it's one of his and a few of our Sideline Cancer players holding the sign saying like, we play in honor of you, rang the bell. And literally the documentary ends, and the last picture is our girls are holding the poster of Dick Vitale saying like, we support you and all that type of stuff, which is pretty cool.
That's amazing. And Mike, I'm curious from your perspective, why did this make just perfect sense for you to do this merger and combine forces?
Well, our vision has always been to these for young ladies to their basketball, and as part of that, we're always looking for the best players, the best people to work with our players, coach our players, and certainly with us just kind of splitting, really duplicating efforts. I don't think it was serving the best interest of the kids, and in order to come together, I think we've all kind of over for the betterment of everybody, and then the opportunity then to couple with the opportunity, something that's a little bit bigger than just themselves or just basketball, with also cause. So, I would say that I know certainly for myself, I've lost family members to cancer, and it's probably going to hold programs. So there's just a natural synergy there. The kids can play for something bigger than themselves, and really, if pigeonholed as being selfish and so forth, and this has really helped dispel that notion.
Absolutely. I love that. And before we move on to talk a little bit about the CJ Miles Clinic that's coming up, just real quick, let's kind of say it again for the people listening. If you have a girl who's interested in trying out, where are the tryouts? How can they get involved? Can you just give that information again?
Yeah, so it's actually girls and boys in our AAU program. This weekend, on the 10th, they'll be holding a tryout, I believe, at the Hempfield Rec Center. Those in Lancaster and your area. On the 11th, we'll be holding an elementary girls tryout as well at the Hollidaysburg Area High School. Grades, you've probably seen some of the flyers going out there. Our high school age tryouts then, where we're going to be in York with Altoona to Johnstown and Du Bois. The October 2nd, I believe, at the Hollidaysburg High School, the boys will go first, 2 to 3:30, and then the girls will go from 4 until 5:30. And then the fall will be down in Lancaster at the Hempfield Rec Center once again, with the high school boys going first and then the girls going second. The times on that are still to be determined. That's the general structure. And then we're going to finish on the 17th of October with an elementary boys Hollidaysburg Area High School, and then also down in Lancaster once again, Field Rec, with the same format as the aforementioned with the elementary girls.
Makes sense. I love obviously the continued partnership with Du Bois, and I'm assuming Albert will be heavily involved with that as well.
And
I love that.
So, yeah, Albert is. I actually just got off the phone with him yesterday, and Albert, and he actually a lot of interest from the Du Bois community. Had a lot of people reach out and call in their area and whatnot, being curious about what is this merger going to look like? What does it mean for them? Which is part of their podcast here today. It's easier for us to say, hey, here, go check out this, 2-minute part, what you need and whatnot, because it is a rather large merger. It's almost 2.5 hours of ground of compassed into one AAU program.
That's amazing. Are there any other, just from my own knowledge, are there any other AAU programs kind of operating in that area or set up already, or no?
Mike, I'll let you go ahead and talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, certainly there's another area, and there's certainly room for the programs to serve different needs and appeal to kids in a different way, certainly to the west of us, the premier program in the western part of PA. And, we're certainly, once as colleagues in this, we're really like-minded from the standpoint that we're trying to do this to achieve their goals. And certainly the Bruins are great partners in the area. There's lots of programs there. And then for the East in the Philadelphia AAU basketball, has always been big on the boys' side, but it's just exponentially grown on the girls' side. And, we're trying to bigger programs are doing.
I love that. Awesome. This great stuff for Sideline Cancer. And another thing that's coming up as well is the clinic with CJ Miles. CJ, a first-time member of Sideline Cancer this year in TBT, and he was lighting it up. You could tell he was a former NBA guy, just draining threes left and right. Pretty exciting stuff to now have him pretty involved, intimately involved, you would say, with Sideline Cancer and kind of the mission going forward. So how did this upcoming clinic come about, and what do people need to know about this clinic that'll help them kind of get registered and get signed up for?
Yes, getting to know CJ. I get to know these guys a lot while we're at TBT. I'm up at the airport, and then I take them home. Then usually in between, I'm doing a lot of the part food and the stuff organization. And so I don't get a chance to talk much in between, but the CJ Miles he was really interested in the mission, and that he was really interested in like what we actually, he had talked to me about the last couple of years that he'd been trying to get back into the NBA. And that like all he's known since high school was the NBA. Yeah. And then he can play high level basketball with purpose. I don't believe that the money is really a big, and that was like, we left and he was like, hey, I just want to let you know that if you need anything in between, like, let me know. And so I said, I'll call you after this is all said and done, like you to do after a loss. Like, that shows his character. And so I called him about a week later. I was like, interested, are you in like doing something with us? And he was like, I don't know how to tell you this, but I'm all in. Me to come do something, as long as I'm available, I'm coming. And so I called him like a week to Trevor Orr, who you will eventually meet, Andrew. Talked to Charlie, Billy Clapper, and we all agreed on the 18th was kind of a down weekend for us in September. And we're going down to this big facility called Spooky Nook. I called CJ, and he's like, hey, I'll text you here in a week. And he texted me. He goes, hey, I'm coming. ... And my wife's coming too. It's cool that it's like a little family thing taking place here in Spooky Nook, Pennsylvania, or at Spooky Nook Sports, Pennsylvania, on September. We're doing 2 sessions from 1 until, and then another session from 3 until 4:30. With the in between, we're going to present a check. So it's a player that wants to come and do this, and then we're going to present a check to a cancer patient area based off the proceeds that we make from the day to make it like a bigger than basketball event to our players, what philanthropy is, and then and to kind of show CJ Miles as well high school events, which I will eventually talk to you about. We kind of mentioned in the previous podcast, instrumental role in putting this all together. Like, he's been taking care of the AAU end so that, we can house clinic, and it kind of all works, together as one, which makes this a really powerful machine. We're a lot stronger together than we are divided, and we're learning that with this AAU merger each and every one. CJ Miles, it's unbelievable what a player like that can do.
Yeah, I mean, has there ever been a player of CJ Miles' stature in that area providing a basketball camp before?
Like, you would know this too. This thing would probably be in our area. Would have been, he played for the Timberwolves for about 12 years. On the girl side at Altoona when he came back to his alma mater to coach. But outside of that, big name down in that area, play on those Detroit Pistons teams, and he has a little bit of action right outside of that. This is a pretty big name coming into Spooky Nook. Spooky Nook is as Spooky Nook to him. Mike, you can explain to him. You've been there a lot more than I have.
Yeah, I mean, certainly for the big tournaments, Spooky Nook can courts going at one time. So, the AAU world has kind of become one of travel to do your exposure tournaments and things like that. Really, for our kids, I mean, they're familiar with the facility and so forth, but the opportunity to get down there and really bring a lot of our kids together that probably don't know each other at this point, but will get to know each other, but also to rub elbows with high-level player like CJ Miles, be right there on a personal level. I think it's going to be really a great opportunity for the kids.
Yeah, just truly tremendous. I mean, CJ is, even when talking to him in the podcast, just a tremendous person, such high character individual. You could tell how much he had so many other interests outside of just basketball and wanting to make a big impact and wanting to make a difference. And the way he thought about things was just so introspective, which I thought was really amazing. Truly one of my favorite interviews I've ever done. So really excited that he can be involved with that. Do you want to just give the details again one more time of how people can sign up for that tournament or for the camp, and again where they can find the information at?
Yeah, so Cancer, and they could DM us at sideline.cancer and just tell us that they're coming. Don't worry about it. It's not necessarily about that this weekend, but at the same time, giving back to others, especially during times when they are in need and all that good. Elementary session will go from 1 to 2:30, and then the school session will go from 3 until 4:30, and there'll be opportunities to take pictures. Complex. It has almost 40 basketball courts in it, so we'll be on the hardwood courts there. Yeah, we'll be on the hardwood courts there. Everything will be first class, and if you're interested in playing, so this is a great event to come to, because like Mike said, there'll be a lot of people here that our sideline actually know each other quite yet. By this time next year, our goal will be to have a clinic like this, and have kids from Altoona meeting kids from York and being like, oh, that's my boy, or team, or that she was a grade younger. We practiced against each other all the time. And so teaching that, getting outside of your comfort zone and meeting other people, it's a skill. I'm a teacher. It's important for these kids to have these opportunities and to provide a platform to allow them to give back, allow them to see an NBA guy that played 16 years in the NBA give back to, and fly in from San Antonio. Shows that how important this is to CJ and how important it is to us and to our kids as well. And so, we can change the world, with that I can attitude and that believe always spirit. Anything's possible.
I love, man. I'm really excited for that, and I'm looking forward to our next show after you do the clinic and talk about the success of that and how awesome it was and all the good experiences. I think it's so cool. Like I said, you have the basketball, you have the opportunity to show what that can be like to give back outside of basketball. Then just that experience of meeting other people. I completely agree. Right? You get to meet people from all over the state. That's awesome. You get to start making connections across. You don't know who you might run into that could support you. Right? I don't think maybe 6 years ago, 7 years ago, there was a vision of DuBois' Dream and Sideline Cancer working together, but here we are, and there's a lot of really good opportunities being created out of that. So really amazing stuff. I'm happy to be, chatting about it and be a part of it. What if people are not able to participate in the clinic, or maybe they don't have a kiddo that wants to be a part of the tryouts, how can they support the foundation still?
2 ways. The number one way is not a financial way. Simply follow us on our social media platforms, basically everything now. And then the second thing is, if they did want to make a financial donation, use the number 44321 in your phone, text #ICAN, hit whatever you want. If you put on there the CJ Miles Clinic, we'll know, which cancer patient. Then 100% of your donation will go right to that cancer patient as well. I will guarantee that.
I think that's amazing. You look at, other things across the board and you don't get that 100% return on the donation going to that. That's amazing stuff, as always. And I'll put all that stuff in the information in the bio of the video. And we'll be back in probably a couple weeks talking about the success of the clinic and what is on the horizon. Jordan and Mike, it has been my pleasure chatting with you. Mike, great to meet you. Hopefully chatting with you again soon. And Jordan, as always, a pleasure. Sideline Cancer family, make sure to tune into our YouTube. We'll be dropping shows probably once a month, potentially a little bit more than that, depending on kind of what events are coming up. And also make sure to follow Sideline Cancer on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, you name it. There is a social media platform. Sideline Cancer is on it, spreading the fantastic message. Thank you all again and have a fantastic night, y'all.
Believe.
Thank you.